Educational giant Martin Luther was an extraordinary man. From an early age, he was taught at an extremely high level, and even so more when he entered his college years. He was an educational giant, and this is shown through his everyday life, his ministry as a monk, the revolution he began, and his ideas and concepts that carried on even after his death. Martin Luther's life and the things he caused are actually a miracle. The fateful day on July 2nd, 1505 changed Luther's life forever, and would soon cause a revolution to spread throughout all of Europe. Martin Luther was born November 10, 1483. After his birth, his family moved from Eisleben, Saxony, which is in Germany, to Mansfield, Saxony, where his father worked in the copper mines. Martin's father, Hans, prospered greatly in the mining business, prospering so much so, in fact, to gain a position in the town's council. Possessing a strong, forceful character, Hans Luther had a great impact on his son. He could be exceptionally stern, as a father should be. Years later, Luther stated that his father gave him a sense of inferiority that took years to overcome. Although his father was stern, he did not skip over the fact that Martin had very promising intellect. He sent his son to Latin school as soon as Martin was allowed to enter school. At the age of 12, he sent his son to a school in Magdeburg, operated by the Brethren for the Common Life, and in 1498, at age 15, attended a school in Eisenach. Soon after that, in 1501, age 18, he entered the University of Jufra, one of the best universities in Germany at that time, where he completed his bachelor's degree in just 1 year. 3 years after that, at the age of 21, he received his master's degree. Just months after this, his life would change. On July 2nd, 1505, Martin Luther was struck by lightning. Overcome by terror and a feeling of his own sinfulness, which made him sure he was fit only to go to hell were he to be struck by lightning and killed, Luther felt the conviction that God cared for him and would save him. After this occurrence, he mainly vowed with God to become a monk. He entered the Augustinian monastery in Dufau. He was ordained in 1507 and became a monk, and due to his biblical brilliance, he was selected for advanced theological studies. He received his doctorate in theological studies in 1512 at the age of 29. After a personal struggle within himself, he realized that there were many things wrong with the doctrines of the Catholic Church at that time, namely indulgences. Due to this improper and incorrect doctrine, Luther created the 95 Theses, attacking indulgences and other doctrines of the Catholic Church at the time, and fastened to the door of the All Saints Church in Wittenberg, Germany, on October 31st, 1517. It was not, however, Luther's intent to have these widely circulated. What Luther had intended as a local, scholarly debate was becoming a public controversy. In 1518, Luther was summoned to Augsburg to explain his reasoning for the direct attack on the Church's doctrine. Cardinal Thomas Cajetan, however, did not ask for an explanation, but instead asked him to recant his sayings. Luther refused to do so, and in fear for his own life, fled Augsburg. In 1521, the Church formally excommunicated Luther. Luther was then summoned in 1521 by the Emperor Charles V to appear under safe conduct before the Imperial Diet at Worms. Luther defended himself with fortitude, saying, "I am overcome by the scriptures I have quoted. My conscience is captive to God's word. I cannot and will not revoke anything, for to act against my own conscience is neither safe nor honest. Hier stehe ich kann nicht anders. Here I stand, I cannot do otherwise." After this, he was placed under arrest. Because he was under arrest, his colleagues kidnapped him, and he stayed in a castle in Germany to do his work. In the years following his summons in 1521, he translated the New Testament from Greek to German, which allowed a lot of the German people at that time to partake in the blessings of the gospel and to know for themselves the truthfulness of the words which the Church had been telling them. The influence of his life is on par to that of Johannes Gutenberg and the invention of the printing press. He enabled most of Europe to read for themselves and personally come to their own conclusions of the gospel, not just by what someone else told them. On February 18th, 1546, however, Martin Luther passed, leaving behind a new form of religion. Martin Luther is one of the most influential characters in the Dark Ages. He was a beacon of light for many who were stuck in an age of darkness. He showed many that it was okay to defy things if they were convicted that their way would lead to a better and brighter future. He showed that along with education, it is important to follow your own convictions and passions. He changed the way that almost all of Europe looked at the Catholic Church. changed the way Europe thinks in a way that you are in charge of your own destiny, and you are in charge of studying and personally creating your own understanding of the Gospels. This is one of the key features of education today in America, in that you are able to think what you want and make understandings for yourself, both by what you are taught from your colleagues and instructors, and by whatever educational matters are available in your life, internet, books, etc. Martin Luther is an educational giant and lit the way for many other people to further their education and challenge the status quo. As you can see, Martin Luther was a revolutionist. He paved the way for many new religions to come about and showed that it is God who is the judge and the father, not the church. He was able to show that no matter the consequences, it is your obligation to do what is right. This is evident in his everyday life, his ministry as a monk, and his revolution, and his ideas and constants that carry down even after his death. The world has been changed by Martin Luther, and his teachings are evident in our lives today.